Do you think we belong to the same lineage morally? And do you think that it is our responsibility to take that legacy forward?
See, there are two things. One is first preserving what we have,
Yeah.
and second is being proud of what we are.
I never thought that this person would be so approachable. He's an artist. He owns an art studio called Mohar. He's an art teacher in a very prominent school in Pune. He has mentored over 1500 school teachers on child psychology, on art facilitation, and he has been doing it for more than a decade now. He has received many awards and accolades for his contribution in the field of art. Let me tell you one thing. He is an artist with a very distinct taste. There appears to be a reason behind his artwork. He is doing something which not many people have attempted before, at least when it comes to the values and principles of going about how he does it. I will not dilute what those values and principles are. Let's hear it from him. Ishan, I welcome you on my show, The Perspective. So Ishan, I'm extremely thrilled to have you on my show, The Perspective.
Thank you, Manjeet. I'm also very excited to be a part of this show because I had not done something like this, like a video interview. So this is my very first one since I started Mover. So I'm very thrilled and excited about this happening today.
Well, thank you so much. So I cannot actually wait to begin with our discussion with our first question. So I'm just surrounded by this beautiful artwork. So can you just tell us more something about what these are and
Yeah, so Mohar is my initiative wherein I work with antiques. When I say antiques, these are beautiful carvings that you get out of these parts of the architecture in different parts of India.
yeah,
So what I do is when these olden architecture, these buildings are being brought down, I connect these carvings from these olden architectural buildings like you can say vadas, havelis, temples, houses, and then I refurbish them into artworks, and that is how this whole initiative Mohar started. And what you all are surrounded by is nothing but my artworks.
So did you always know, did you always had this passion and did you always know that this is what you want to do and this is what I want to perceive, this is what my end result would be. So did you always have this in mind?
Honestly, what happened is, see, I was born and brought up in Pune, and I was always surrounded by these beautiful buildings
Yes.
which had a lot of these kind of carvings, right? And all these buildings stand still there for almost 200, 300 years.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a part of your childhood which in your subconscious tries to seep down and eventually come up at some point. So I think with Moher it so happened that I was always wanting to know how on earth would one save this, because we are all aware of this, that with the kind of redevelopment that we are having in the urban spaces, we would have these buildings no more.
Yeah, we'll lose them.
We lose them.
Yeah.
And how on earth we save a bit of this?
Yeah.
So it's my humble try towards creating artworks out of it, so that probably I could save a bit of it. And me being a trained artist, so it comes to me naturally to put them aesthetically in a certain manner. So that was, of course, a given added advantage that came to my hand when I wanted to really go about it.
Right. Okay. That's such a wonderful thought. I mean, why the pieces, why the items from the old architectural buildings, the vadas, as you said, or the old temples or havelis? I mean, my question is, one can always create to some extent the items, the articles, the replicas. Why do you insist on having the articles? I mean, the original items when you kind of come up with your artwork.
See, it's always like you love a person
Yeah.
and you can't love a replica of a
That's a
person.
nice way of putting it.
So it's as simple as that. It's loving an original person.
Yeah.
I love my heritage. I'm very proud of it as an Indian. So why would I have replicas when I am fortunate enough to live in an era where I'm still getting it?
Oh, that's
And
fantastic.
it's I'm still surrounded by buildings that do have these kind of carvings. So then why do I indulge myself into replicas?
Right, right. When I see at your artwork, I always get that feeling of, I get a very strong sense of cultural values, the values of our heritage, history. Um, so is first of all, is it a fair statement to make? And if yes, then what is your thought process when you kind of create this artwork, especially when it comes to collecting the items which are in their original form, which belongs to an era which was like 200 to 300 years ago.
See, honestly, like I mentioned before, this is not a one-day process.
Yeah.
For an artist, to to culminate things into his art is a process of years together, right? So whatever comes to me and is appreciated by me in the form of the aesthetic that I present right now, I think it's a learning, it's a observation, it's something that has been, seeping into your brain and your subconscious.
Right.
And I think that's how it comes to you naturally. I would not say it's a natural process, it's a process.
Yeah.
Because we never know what our brain retrieves from the past.
Yes.
And I think growing up in Pune, in such a culturally and rich city, and so much heritage around, one can't miss to be
Yeah.
culturally inclined.
Absolutely, absolutely. You are an art teacher. What is that one thing which you basically want your students to keep in mind when they look at a particular item or an artwork which has got historical value, which has got a value from our heritage point of view? What is it that one thing you as a teacher tell your students to have this perspective?
See, as a teacher, let me be very honest. I don't impose my opinions on my students.
Right.
It's like your mother saying that, there's a plate full of food items in front of you, and you don't like a certain thing, and you just don't want to eat it. But your mother just says that, why don't you just taste it? I may not have you a second serving for it, but you can always taste it for yourself once, and then you can be a judge for yourself that
Yeah.
whether you like it or not. So with my students also, my outlook is the same. It is my responsibility as an adult, as a
Right.
teacher,
Yeah.
to offer what I know could be of some help or could be of some knowledge to them.
Yeah.
Whether to like it or not like it is completely
It is up
upon
to
them.
them, yeah.
But I always would say, as a teacher, that you should always experience things before you completely say a no in the first place.
Yeah.
And see, heritage does not only belong to India. Heritage is a thing which is across the ethnicities, across the countries, across the globe. Everybody has a heritage, everybody has a history, everybody has antiques.
That's right.
So I would be happy if my students tomorrow go and travel the world and see these things for themselves, for different people. But in the first place, I would rather like them to see what we have
We have got.
than to appreciate later what is with others.
That is a fantastic thought. That's a fantastic thought. We are so rich. We have got so many monuments which belong to prehistoric era. Like we have got sites like Lothal, Dholavira, Rakhigadi, which belongs to the Harappan civilization. We have got relatively newer sites. Those are not new, but relatively newer. We have got Ellora caves. We have got the Kailash temple over there. We have got Hampi. Those were like built by many generations when the efforts of many generations were put together to come up with something like that. Do you think we belong to the same lineage morally, and do you think that it is our responsibility to take that legacy forward?
See, there are two things. One is first preserving what we have,
Yeah.
and second is being proud of what we are.
Yeah.
Um, Rather, I would put it the other way around. If we are proud of what we are, we
Yeah.
would preserve what we have.
Oh wow.
And I think if that is instilled in the younger generations or even the adults like us, I think a lot will be saved. And when you are proud of what you have, you actually want to save it and you want to build upon it.
Right.
The problem with us is after so many invasions,
Yeah.
the whole idea of appreciating the things that we have has gone down. And it was strategically done like that.
Right.
Because I believe a society which is aesthetically inclined will never have terrorism.
Wow.
A society which is sensitive, empathetic, will never have rapes, will never have thefts, will never have hatred.
Wow.
Because the sense of love and beauty and aesthetic was always a part of our culture.
Yeah.
India is a part, has played a vital role in so many things, be it education, be it culture, be it so many other things.
Absolutely.
And I think the system was, for that matter, in education, we had Gurukul system, which was then picked up by the Waldorf.
Right.
Now the system in Germany, one of the systems in Germany, Waldorf, started by Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf Steiner came to India to study Gurukul system, and then with his own additions to it, he presented it to the world. And it's a fantastic system. Like I taught in a Waldorf school in Pune, and it so occurred to me that whatever we were doing was having some roots to what we did in our childhood.
Yeah.
And then when I started studying about the system, I actually figured out that somebody who started it came to
Actually
India
studied
to
our
study
culture. Oh wow.
our culture.
Wow.
That is the answer. I think if we are proud of our own selves, I don't think we need to look outside. I mean, you should always appreciate what others have,
Yeah.
but you should not ignore what you have.
That's such a profound thought.
Because
Such a profound thought.
because see, this comparison itself puts you in a self doubt.
Yeah.
And when you are in a self doubt, I think you don't value where you stand. And when you are in a self doubt, you will always compete and you will always underperform.
Right.
Because a negative competition always gets the worst out of you. It never gets the best out of you. A healthy competition always gets the best out of you.
Wow. Do you think the time has come where everyone should do their bit to kind of narrate the story or support our culture and heritage and history in some or the other way, whatever their capacities? I'm not saying that everyone is designed to do something big in a big way, but everyone can do something in their own way.
See, honestly, I feel there are very small things, small steps, baby steps, I would call them,
Yeah.
that we could take. One, and the foremost thing, is we could take our children to the museums. How many of us take our children to the museums, the local museums that are in your city or in your state? We don't do that. We don't do that often. How many of us take our children, our future generations, to visit beautiful temples from the past?
That's right.
See, this is how culture is ingrained.
Yeah.
How many of us actually celebrate festivals the way they were celebrated earlier?
That's right.
Now, I would say WhatsApp or social media has come in and we just wish Happy Diwali on an
And there is-
e-card.
Yeah.
How many of us really go to greet somebody at their home with a box of sweets, or with a pack of lamps that we used to make? Or how many of us really make killas?
Right.
Like, if because we are in Maharashtra, we all make these replicas of forts of Shivaji Maharaj in the times of Diwali, and that used to be a childhood memory until like last 30 years,
Yeah.
because I'm 34 now, so I know it is a part of our system that we were brought up in.
Certainly.
And now if you see that the potters are making these artificial earthen forts, which are just to be placed at your doorstep, and you say that, oh, I made it. So, see, these are the small bits that we could actually start this process with. It's not like something big step that you have to take, but these are small things that, as an individual, we can definitely do them, and at our home level, not even like, I'm not even asking you to step out of your society.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that is a good point to remember by probably every one of us. But what do you think the artist community can do to kind of narrate the story and glory of our heritage, our history, our culture, so that it can be heard by lot many, so that it can be propagated to the wider forum?
Honestly, if you ask me that question, I would not take the responsibility of others on my shoulders. I am doing my bit.
Yeah.
Because, see, an artist is a free flowing entity.
Yeah.
He might even think of doing something abstract, he might think of doing something very traditional,
Yeah.
he might think of doing some portraits. But yes, like you said, when you encapsulate artist as a word to engulf these different professions, be it a writer, musician, or a theater artist, or anybody, or a painter, I would say yes, it can. He can be a very strong medium to reinforce the culture. But like I said, why only artists?
Yeah.
Why aren't we taking the responsibility of every one of us?
Yeah.
As an Indian, why aren't we thinking ourselves to be more responsible? With the very basic thing which has been introduced, like we go on forts and we see things written on the forts.
Yeah.
We go to so many monuments and we see the lovers' names inscribed there. I don't think Shah Jahan and Mumtaz ever inscribed their names
Yeah.
on Taj Mahal, right?
That's a sad state which we have come to.
Yeah. None of the people doing Ellora and Ajanta ever inscribed their names.
No.
They never took credit to themselves.
Not at
But
all.
now, if you see that the smallest donation made to a temple is inscribed on the stairs that we take up to the temple.
Yeah.
And that is the difference. Doing it selflessly, and moreover, in the bigger light, I would say doing it as a part of culture and as a part of tradition, and not as a part of duty.
Yeah.
See, it's a very different take, because if it is ingrained in you as a system, as a part of your culture, as a part of your tradition, your mother doesn't have to tell you to do it. You eventually teach your children
Yeah.
to do it that way. Tell me, there are so many states that we have.
Yeah.
So India is a diverse nation, as we know. There are so many traditional arts. There's so much music. There is so much literature that is existing there. Has already been done, and more is being added by the day.
Yeah.
Tell me, how much do we, as individuals of a state, try to preserve it? If we ourselves try to preserve our own state rituals and folk traditions and tribal arts and culture, I think we don't need to have a helping hand to do this.
That's right. That's so profound thought. And thank you so much for talking about it at a length. What is that one thing which we should be doing, because we are so enriched with the historical stories? We have Ramayana, we have Mahabharata, we have so many different things to talk about. What is it that we should be doing to take it at a global level, to take it at a global platform?
I think few of the musicals and dance productions that have happened in the past. Sorry, I'm forgetting the name, so I would not name it wrongly. But there are some senior artists who have indulged in making these great musicals and stage shows like Mahabharata and Ramayana, which have traveled the world already. But like you say, that if we want our culture to, be widespread more and more, I'm sure there are many artists who are already working towards it in their own bit.
Yeah.
But one thing I would just like, as a friend to them or as a part of artist community, I would just like to tell them that whatever you are aiming at, whatever form of art you are wanting to deliver, please just study it to the core.
Right. Okay.
Don't give a half-hearted information to the world.
Okay.
Don't let people point out at you saying that they know more about your culture than you. So when you're going prepared to perform anything, in whatever form it may be, just go fully prepared.
Wow. Okay.
Let not people question you about your roots.
Right. Okay. I can just go on and on talking to you on this topic, maybe for days together. I will never switch off my camera. But we are almost at time. I'm sure that I'm very positive that we'll come up with part two of this discussion. We'll continue with this discussion. For today, I thank you so much for giving us your time, the information which you have got, and making me sit in this beautiful surrounding for like hours together. Thank you so very much for again giving your time.
Thank you so much for promptly coming in with such a beautiful camera setup and your enthusiasm, because I think this only happens out of passion, and I think you are equally passionate about this series that you're doing, and I really congratulate you first of all to take such initiative, because this again is a documentation, right?
Yeah.
And thank you so much for making me a part of this, and I'm really looking forward to part two. I don't know what we are going to do in part two, but I'm really excited. Hope to see you very soon.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ishan. Thanks a lot.